Hey guys, Huz here bringing you another video. Now welcome to another episode of League Discussion, the series I take your topics, rip them apart, my opinions and experiences, and encourage you guys to join in the comment section down below. Now before we get into it, just to kind of explain my glasses, which I have just noticed is reflecting the monitors, so apologies for that. I've got quite a bad headache, and I've always worn these to help me out when I have headaches, because I still need to work. And I bought these when I had laser eye surgery, and yeah, they're really good. I actually think I might get a new pair, because the blue is quite a little bit out there, to be honest. But yeah, let's get on to the topic. So today's topic, I think, is quite a good one, but it is going to be quite opinion focused. I do have some experience in the matter, but it is going to be very opinion driven. And basically, we're going to be talking about EU LCS mainly, but we're also going to be talking about North American LCS a bit, and about why I'm concerned about the EU LCS. So because this is going to be mainly an opinion piece, it's going to be a really good episode for people in the comment section to give their opinions too. Because in league discussions, when I just state facts, there's not a lot to add to them because they're just facts. Where this one, there is no facts. This is just opinion and experience talking, and this is where you guys can add yours, and that's going to be great. So, about a week ago now, roughly, I did a vote on Twitter asking people, do you watch LCS? If so, which variant or how do you watch it? So I was like, do you watch it? Do you only watch North American? Do you only watch European? Do you watch both of them? Or do you watch none? The vote that won was I only watch North American LCS. It had about 50% of the vote. Then tied was I watch both or I watch none. And in really last place was I only watch EU LCS. And just to kind of say, I'm timing this video of me recording this, and this will date the video. But I'm recording this on Friday evening. And right now, the quarterfinals to the European LCS is on, which, as you'd imagine, is quite a big event. It's the quarterfinals to this split of European LCS. There's only 57,000 people watching on Twitch, and obviously, yes, there are YouTube streams, but I'm just going to go pure Twitch numbers here, because that is always the biggest viewing platform, is Twitch. 57,000 views. That's not good. And, you know, recently, past weeks, it's been at 45,000, 50,000. A couple weeks ago, it amazingly peaked over 100,000 when it was like a very intense game, because people like heard about it. And it did that, and I can't remember the last time EULCS has done that. The reason why you should be a little bit concerned about this is because I know this again. It's the bad thing talking about it, because a lot of when you mix entertainment with money, it dims it, right? It lessens the glisten and the shine of the entertainment value. But all this LCS, all of it is because money. It should be making money. It should be making Riot money. It should be making the teams money. It should be making everyone money. And with that amount of viewer coverage, that is worrying. For a few things. So the first thing I'll say is Riot built the LCS. Partially, they did it out of their own pocket because they said it is not going to be financially positive for years to come. And if they gave it like to a contract, or let's say to ESL or to any other company out there, they'd probably drop it after a couple of years because it just wouldn't make them money. Well, Riot's point of view is even if we lose money making it, well, technically it's still promoting our game and we can just use it as advertisement. So that's why Riot did it themselves, and plus to have more control over it. But that's why Riot probably doesn't matter as much or bother as much. The problem that you have, and again, this conversation and discussion is going to probably jump all over the place, so hopefully it makes sense, is North America. So North American LCS has been doing okay in views, around double, more or less, what Europe does. But recently, obviously, we had the big money injection go into the North American LCS. If you're unaware, North American just became franchised, which means no teams get demoted at the end of the season. There is no challenger series to get people promoted. It's just every single team owns their slot, much like Formula 1. And if a team wants to leave the LCS, they have to sell their slot. And let's face it, every single team is probably going to make money off selling their slot. The buy-in for it was $5 million. So every single organization that you currently see in the North American LCS had to give $5 million to join. It's, yeah, by the time, like at the end of this whole season, because of the exposure and everything, that probably will get doubled. So if, let's say, Nadeshot, who owns 100 Thieves, he's just a single guy, and maybe he raised the money for it, but he probably is going to make a lot of bank if he just wants to sell his team. He'll probably make millions of dollars as an individual, pay off whatever he loaned or got as investing, pay them back, keep the rest. Which is a very smart business model. The problem with that is when you compare North American and the money's growing, the views are doing okay, and you compare Europe, you obviously see a massive disparity in caring. I'd say, you know, you've got this massive money injection, you've got more views happening in North America, you've got the whole stream of North America having a sponsor now, which I don't think Europe has. There's a lot of differences. And with Europe especially, and why I'm concerned, is the views are going down pretty much every single season. And this is obviously where opinion will come in. And it's like, why is it going down? So this is where you guys can chip in. Do you watch EULCS? If you used to, why did you stop? Because I'm going to just give my personal story. Is I used to watch North American LCS and European LCS equal. I didn't think any of them was above each other. I watched them equally. I had teams that I supported in both. But over the past couple years, I've basically stopped watching Europe LCS. And it didn't go suddenly. Basically, it went from watching it every single time it was on, watching it occasionally, watching it on mute, and eventually just stopped watching it. And then, you know, basically when I was watching most of the games on mute, I kind of said to myself, what's the point in watching? I'm just going to stop watching. And there's a few reasons for this. So the first reason is personalities. So if you get, a lot of this is comparison with North American to EU, is North America has personalities. You care about organizations because they do so much more than Europe. Is that, you know, you've got all these series that, you know, show the teams in their environment. TSM has had a show, like a basically, whatever it's called, a thingy's reality show for the past couple of years. 100 Thieves has got one. It makes more fandom around the teams. And obviously that is something Europe doesn't really have. I think it's been attempted, but it never was really sold because people didn't really care about the personalities involved. You know, when you're looking at all the North American content, it's a lot. Like there are, in each LCS team, or most of the popular ones anyway, they do YouTube videos, they stream more, they do interviews more. Like there's just more out there to connect you with that pro. Where in Europe, we don't really have that amount. It just doesn't feel, it doesn't feel as connected as North America, which I think is partially the reason I stopped caring for Europe, is that the fandom difference that I had for North American teams, and by the way, I'm from the UK, I should be watching Europe. That is my LCS technically. I should be caring more about Europe, yet I cared more about the North American because I felt like I knew them more. I felt like I got their mentality more because I was watching more of their content. You know, Double F's YouTube, the TSM channel in general, HyperX, who sponsors quite a few of the teams. They always did them 20 questions, just little things like that. And when you watch enough of it, you kind of get more of a sense of fandom. When's that ever happened in Europe? It just hasn't. So I think that is one reason why I stopped watching the European LCS. And the next one is, and again, I'm not going to single people out for this. I'm only going to single out people for being positive rather than negative. I dislike majority of the European casting team. I really dislike it. The only one that I like, and this is where I say I'm only going to single out people that I like and enjoy, is Medic. He's relatively new and he's still learning. Like, he does do shouty stuff a little bit too much. But the reason why I like Medic is because he used to cast my tournaments in the UK scene. And seeing somebody rise through the ranks like that, and he's part of the UK scene, that's awesome. That's really cool. But apart from that, I don't like any of the other casters. There are some casters that I literally, when I used to watch European LCS, turned off the stream instantly if I knew they were casting the game. Even if it was a team that I liked. And that is, I think, a massive problem for me. And again, this is where it's personal opinion, and this is where you guys can chip in, is that definitely had a big impact on me stop watching the European LCS. Is I just didn't like the casting team. There are some casters that just say the wrong thing. It's just wrong. It is like they're trying to get into the analytical mindset of the players, and it's just wrong. It's clearly wrong, and it just annoys me. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've tried to think about it for ages. Again, the thing that I'd say one thing is different to the North American casting team and the European casting team, and this is something that cannot be helped. So it's a point that I probably don't even need to say, but I'll say it regardless, is the North American team, they're all American, obviously, and they're very good at talking, very clear, very quick at talking. With the European casting team, obviously doesn't have just pure English speakers in it. There are people that English is their second or third language, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's just not as crisp or clear or quick, and it's not as fluid, and they can't help that. And obviously, I'm not I don't want to hold it against them that it's different, but it is. I don't know. That sounds weird to me, but that might also have something to do with it. I'm not sure. And again, I never want to try and hold that against people, obviously, because it's a wrong thing to do. But when I listen to North American casters, it's like professional. It's like literally, I've said it for years, Rivington probably could just go on ESPN and just blend in. And that is a very big compliment, in my opinion, because ESPN is like a sports broadcasting network. I think he'd do fine casting a baseball game or a football game. He'd be completely fine. He's very professional. And I can't say that about Europe. I can't say that about one caster in Europe. And probably quite a few of them in North America could hold their own, given the right circumstance. So, I don't know. That's also a big reason for me. So, the two big reasons so far has been, I don't care about any personalities in Europe. There is not one single player that I'm like, oh, I support that guy. I have a connection with that guy. You know, I've watched his YouTube. I watch him stream. I've seen it. None. I can't probably even name Euro players anymore because there's just nothing out there. And the second one is just the casting just doesn't grab me. You know, the amazing moments of LCS in general, and I'm talking North America and Europe, the biggest casting moments, if you go on like these YouTube videos, I would hope majority of them are filled with two casters, Demon and Joe Miller, both being European casters. So it's not like I dislike European casters. Those dudes were amazing, and obviously they left a few years ago. When casters are good, they make the situation, and that's one thing I think is missing from the European LCS. You know, there's been like the pentakill from the Korean casters. That's a very big moment. Banana from Joe Miller, the classic LOL moments. And we haven't had those in a long time. So let's go on to the next point that I think is another reason why people are stopping to watch the LCS. It's boring. So this is something that I think is going to be very hard for them to change, because pros will always play in the most efficient way possible. They want to win. It's their job. There is money on the line for winning. This isn't solo queue where you kind of just goof around. This is pro play. So if that means both teams are focusing on farming and not dying, guess what? They are farming and nobody dies until half an hour into the game. That's boring. It's really boring. You know, it's the same thing that kind of happens in solo queue. Whoever wins bot lane, nobody dies, but whoever gets the first tower in bot lane then goes top. They get that tower, then goes mid. It gets boring after a year or so of it being the same thing. So I think that's also a potential reason. It's like you just feel it's the same thing every single game. It's not even like the same thing every week. Every single game, no matter which teams are playing, it's just kind of like, oh, they're going to do the same thing again. It's the same champion picks. And obviously back in the day, it used to be relatively the same champion picks. I'm not complaining about that, but it was more exciting. And I know a lot of people hold nostalgia, probably, you know, it is definitely a thing that can mess with your brain. But again, a lot of people hold Season 3 as one of the best seasons of League. And, well, really, people hold it as the best season or the worst season. It was the best season for individual play. It was the worst season if you weren't a very good player. So, yeah, back in the day, Season 3 was the moments like Faker, the Zed moment. Insec made himself, I think, in Season 3, the Lee Sin Insec kick. Those moments came from Season 3 because it highlighted individuals more. And maybe that's what the LCS needs. Maybe the game balance should go more to individual play, to allow the pros to become more individual rather than just being this clump of just passive farm, nobody dies, and then the game ends with 6 deaths. It's like, that's just boring. And I think that is part of it as well. So again, the 3 reasons, and what I'm saying to you guys, and that's pretty much my reasons why I think LCS is slowing down, is, especially in Europe, personalities, don't care about them. Secondly, I don't like the casting team. Third, it's boring to watch when it's the same thing every single game. So you guys can give me your opinions down below. So let me know. But then I will say the final thing that I am a little bit concerned with, and we can bring in North America into this, is sustainability. Money. And again, it does kind of, you know, it reds the water when you're talking about entertainment, unfortunately. But when I just mentioned earlier that each team bought into the North American LCS for $5 million each, how do they see the return on investment? Well, they see it through sponsorships. For the vast majority of them, if they don't win the World Championship or they don't win the LCS split, when a team won the LCS split, I think they get $1 million. It may have gone up now. I don't know. I don't know if Riot have been public about that, but it used to be, I think, $1 million. And obviously, Worlds is several million now. But most of these teams are not going to win anything, but they still had to put $5 million in. Where did they get their return on investment? It's sponsorships. Why do sponsors sign with teams? If you have no idea how it works, it's obviously advertisement, but it's advertisement per view. So that is why teams like TSM will probably get way more money than any other team, is because TSM have a very active social media. They have a very active personal YouTube channel. TSM, they do their own content, and when they're pitching sponsors, hey, sign with us, we'll give you access to our jersey, so you get a logo. Every player will stream occasionally, have your logo. We'll do videos on the TSM channel using your product. That's massive exposure. Hell, probably the best example is 100 Thieves are sponsored by a housing mortgage company. And you'd never think that would be something to do with gaming. Oh, wait, unless you do a house tour that is sponsored by the mortgage company that gave you the house. Genius. It promotes the house, promotes the team, gets people caring about the team because they're watching their personal lives, and then brings in the new sponsor that gave you the house, and then people go, oh, well, I'm looking for a new house. I'll go on that mortgage company that sponsors 100 Thieves. It's a loop. That is where the money comes back, and that is why people invest. When there is very little content happening in Europe, why are the sponsors going to go to Europe when they can just go to North America? You know, why do you think so many European players are going to North America? Bjergsen, the Gamers 2 bot lane recently to TSM. Why are they all moving? The best players are moving to North America. Money. The average salary is to be said, and again, this is where I probably know a little bit more, but take my word, I guess, and it might be a little bit outdated, but the average salary in Europe LCS a couple years ago used to be under 6 figures. It used to be like 60,000 roughly was the average that Riot used to pay each player. I think it was 24,000 euro each. Riot paid that, and then the organizations paid the difference. And I think the average European salary was like 60,000. It has now gone up. Like, it may be around 100,000 now, average player in the European LCS, which again, for the views, that's not great. In North America, these salaries are a lot higher. You know, there are rumors, and I will say they are rumors, that there are the occasional player that is on around the $1 million mark. I don't think any player has made the $1 million yet, but Impact is rumored to be very close. And obviously that is very gossipy, kind of trash news that we're kind of talking there. So that, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. That could be just wrong. But why would a talented European player choose to play in Europe when they can just head to America? And that is also not helping European LCS, because if they're stars of Europe all just go over to North America, it's kind of like, yay, woo, we've got no one left. So that's my 2 cents about the topic. Let me know what you guys think. So again, I think why especially Europe is struggling, personalities, lack of, the casting team, I'm not a big fan. And thirdly, I've gone blank, but I would have said it earlier. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Throw a like on the video. If you've got any more topics you want me to talk about, also let me know. But I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, because I will say, in the time that I've been filming this, it is the European LCS quarterfinals. I think the time that I started recording this, it was like 58,000 people or something like that was watching. Now 69,000 people have tuned in. You know, these type of events that are the quarterfinal of the whole split, you are expecting 6-figure figures. Like, if Ninja, as a solo streamer, and obviously for a different game, averages 120,000 views for a solo streamer, a whole professional organization with people employed, with a studio, with a whole game that they could advertise it, that's not very good. Simple as that. So let me know what you think. Oh, the third point was it's boring to watch because it's the same thing every single game. So let me know in the comments. I'm really interested to know, do you watch NA? Do you watch EU? Why do you watch either of them? Why don't you watch Pro Play? Why don't you watch Europe? Why don't? Let me know. It's a really, really, really interesting topic, and I'll probably be reading like every comment. and I'll be probably replying to some as well. So again, like, subscribe. See you guys next time. See you.